Hey guys, and welcome to Really Seriously For Real. Ooh, that looks like trouble. For Jamie, that is. So there are definitely spoilers ahead for this episode. Let's go. This week it was Downton Abbey meets Pride and Prejudice, shoved into the shell of Outlander. So in other words, I loved it. Katrina Balfe tweeted, "Watch Claire stare at a piece of paper really, really hard, or watch Sam Heughan get jiggy with some broad." So how would you describe it? As a continuation, we find Claire, Roger, and Brianna searching through records in order to pinpoint exactly where Jamie is in his equivalent timeline. We also meet Fiona, granddaughter to Mrs. Graham. In one part of the episode, she gives Claire back the pearls that were given to her by Jamie, and she in turn gave to Mrs. Graham after she came back through the stones. Roger and Brianna found themselves getting closer, and one night as they talked, Brianna told Roger she feared losing her mother to this search for Jamie as they had been growing closer. Roger confessed he feared losing Brianna once the search was over. So what do you say to that? Yep, that's about right. Claire was busy trying to locate Jamie when she received a call from Joe Abernathy, her good friend and colleague, trying to see when was she coming home to Boston. Besides checking in with his friend, he also called her with the news of a patient that was in need of surgery. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to crack up a bit because when Claire had insisted to Joe that he could handle the surgery, and he retorted, "Well, of course I can." Like, come on, you know who I am. But at that point, Claire wasn't ready to come home. Not yet. No matter the circumstance. You gotta love the FBI board they have going there in order to keep their facts and timeline straight. Claire does find Jamie's name in the logs for Ardsmuir Prison, and they know the prison closed in 1756, and all the prisoners were sent to the colonies. Now, only problem is that Jamie ended up at Hellwater under a different name, so they wouldn't know that yet. Our detectives turned their attention to ship manifests, even venturing to the National Archives, which apparently has the largest grouping of ships' logs. Just not for the year they're looking for. Roger, maybe next time you might want to clarify with the library what years you need before you make the trip. All of this made Claire rethink why she's doing this. She noted Mrs. Graham's warning about chasing ghosts. Ultimately, Claire decided it was time to end her search and go home. Back at Hellwater, you meet William Dunsany, Lord of the estate. While he doesn't know he's standing in front of Red Jamie, he does know that he's a prisoner of Ardsmuir that fought as a Jacobite. He tells Jamie that he lost his only son in the Battle of Prestonpans. And even though he did, he respects a man who fights for a cause. Jamie shared that he lost 2 children and understands this loss all too well. Lord Dunsany grants him residency and agrees the past is behind them and will only tell his wife, who has a deep hatred for Jacobites, that he is simply a groom, highly recommended by Lord Grey. So one could say Jamie's situation was definitely improving. That is until Geneva, the eldest daughter of Lord Dunsany, takes an interest in Jamie. Geneva was promised to the Lord of Ellesmere, a much older man, one that she compared in age to her grandfather. She looked at Jamie as youthful and handsome, someone more appropriate to give her virginity to. So she began maneuvering to allow her to have more time with Jamie, much to the delight of the other groomsmen who would draw straws to leave it up to chance of who would actually take Geneva riding any given day and endure her prickly attitude. While on such a ride, she asked Jamie about his observations of her future husband. which he said very little, and then she asked Jamie, "What do you find attractive?" He states, "I do not think of such things, my lady." She calls him a liar, and what I find interesting here, he stops writing. So either he's thinking, "Ooh, you found me out. I find you attractive and I'm trying to fight the feeling," or is he just simply pausing to think of his attraction to Claire? So she carries ahead of him, flaunting her status, saying, "You have to do my bidding." He rides after her, and then you hear her scream. Jamie finds her seemingly unconscious on the ground and scoops her up to bring her to safety. Only she starts laughing and says, "I knew you'd do as you were told." In response, Jamie drops her right into a puddle of mud. Thank goodness she found it amusing, because she's the type of character where you just don't know which direction she would lean. With only a word, she could destroy everything for Jamie, and she knew it. On one of Lord Grey's quarterly checkups of Jamie, his brother Lord Melton strolls by where the two were playing chess, with Geneva on one arm and her youngest sister, Isabel, who actually has a crush on Lord Grey, on the other. Melton's face when he realized Jamie was still alive was priceless, noting in code that if it were up to him, he would never have let Jamie go. The women, of course, believing he was referring to Jamie in a servant nature. Geneva, however, had all of her antennas up, looking at the exchange and the change of demeanor between the gentlemen. After allowing Lord Melton to indulge himself in liquor, she indulged herself in information on Jamie. Geneva had everything she needed to blackmail Jamie, and she did so to force Jamie into her bed. Here comes Jamie sneaking into the manor and to her room. Am I the only one that thought maybe he should have removed his shoes so he didn't make too much noise? I don't know. But he gets there, and the scene, I think, was well done. You got the sense that Geneva wasn't necessarily the mean and cavalier person she promoted. She was nervous and young and disappointed to marry a man not of her choosing. Jamie also gave wonder to whether he was there because he was being blackmailed or because he actually wanted to. There's a bit of a theme in this episode and others that sex can be just that. Sex. Sex doesn't necessarily define feeling. Well, I mean, it does. Just, meaning not the love feeling. Never mind. He started by telling her not to address him by his name, Jamie, since she lured him there through blackmail. Instead, to address him as Alex, still his given name, just not the main one. I mean, when you think about it, you use a different name, then it doesn't feel like it's really you. As he began to disrobe, he tells Geneva that she could look at him, and she gasps when she saw his back. But he told her it was okay and it didn't hurt. When he turned to fully face her, she got over it pretty quick. He was gentle and kind and tender, everything a first time should be. She told him that she loved him, but he explained that what they did wasn't love, that love is deeper. The next time we would see Geneva, she was incredibly pregnant, and the look she gave Jamie made him understand right away that it was likely his. But any questioning feeling was short-lived, as Geneva died during childbirth, but not before delivering a healthy baby boy. While giving his condolences to a grieving Lady Isabel, he found himself acquainted with the inside of her palm as she lashed out at him for having fathered this child in the first place. See, Geneva, she had confided in her sister, her indiscretion. But before Isabel and Jamie had a chance to talk it out, a big commotion starts up as Lord Ellesmere threatens to kill the baby because he knew it wasn't his. In defense, Lord Dunsany draws his gun. Jamie tries to talk all of them into calm, first taking the gun from Lord Dunsany, but Lord Ellesmere was too irrational and acted as though he was about to strike the baby. Jamie fired around at him, killing him, but saving the baby. In gratitude, Lady Dunsany reveals that she did in fact know that Jamie was a prisoner, but she will offer him his freedom with a letter from her husband to the right people, and he could return to Scotland. But he opts to stay because this way he could spend more time with the baby, who they've named William. Ironically, Jamie's brother was named William. As Willie grew, he had a great closeness to Jamie. Lady Dunsany even remarked how they spend so much time together, in fact, that they're beginning to look like each other. I love that. Jamie knows that he can't stay there forever, and he tells Willie he must go, which is hard for the young lord. And he didn't take it too well. Jamie forcefully grabs him and spanks him once and calls him a bastard in the heat of the exchange. I'm like, oh great. Jamie's gonna get in trouble now for how he handled the kid. But instead, Willie yells that he's not a bastard. And Jamie softens and realizes he's dealing with the child who, even though he knows it's his child, he also knows he can't treat him as such. This is hard for Jamie on so many levels. He tragically lost his child Faith in France when Claire miscarried. And then another, Brianna, who went back with Claire through the stones. And now Willie, who he has to leave because he can't come forward as a father to him. That night, Jamie gives Willie a carved snake to remember him by. It's like the same carving he received from his own brother. In another visit from Lord Grey, Jamie asks him to act as a surrogate father to Willie in his place, and then implies that he would sleep with him if he would like. Lord Grey's face was priceless. Shock, excitement, and mildly insulted because he and Jamie have a true friendship, forged through some of the most unforgiving circumstances. Lord Grey would do this because it was what his friend asked of him, not marred in trade for sex. Ironically, he trades news, informing Jamie the reason he was there was because he will marry Lady Isabel, and promises he enters into the union honorably. He tells Jamie that even now, because of this, that he would in fact be able to act as a surrogate father to his son, because technically that's exactly what he would be. Jamie totally embodies what this episode is all about, of lost things. One could also argue Willie lost his parents. The Dunsanys lost Geneva. Ellesmere lost his life. Claire lost the drive to find Jamie because the library lost all the darn records from the 1700s. Lord Melton lost his lips when he drunkenly spilled the beans about Jamie, and Geneva lost her virginity. Did I miss anything? I know I did. Another solid episode of Outlander, and heartbreaking as we watch Jamie ride away from Willie. But these are all necessary steps to get Claire and Jamie closer together. Sound off in the comments about what you thought. There's always eye-opening comments, and I love getting your opinion on things. So keep them coming. And go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss an upload. Until next time, guys.